I would like to start, if you can hear me, I would like to start by a main idea, or give us the impression. How can we, what do we think, what do we do, how do we read the report that was issued by the IMF?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on your program, and it's great to be with you.
Thank you, sir.
So the report that was released today was in conjunction with the second review of the IMF-supported program, as well as the Article 4 consultation, which is the usual annual health check of all the economies who are IMF member countries. So it's quite a long report because it focuses both on the near-term and the long-term issues. So as a very brief summary, I think it would be fair to say that the Egyptian authorities have taken decisive reform measures over the past more than a year now, and we are at a point where we are starting to see the results of these difficult and bold measures. In particular, given that there were several years before 2016 when there were a buildup of imbalances in the economy with rising debts, rising current account deficits, fiscal deficits as well, and inflation pressures, what we have seen is that the bold reforms that were undertaken are beginning to have a payoff. Inflation has started to come down from the peak in July when it was around 33%.
Can you just, sir, let me hold you here for a moment. Can you give me the chance to translate a little bit of what you've said? Sorry for that. سيد سوبر كان بيتكلم على انه التقرير ده بيصدر في الميعاد ده وفقا للاجراءات المنظمه للتعامل مع صندوق النقد. ده تقرير بيصدر بشكل سنوي. ده التقرير الثاني، واتكلم على انه بيركز جدا التقرير في المرحله دي على الاجراءات اللي قال انها اجراءات، وصفها بانها اجراءات جريئه وحاسمه خدتها الحكومه المصريه في الاصلاح الاقتصادي، وايه الفوائد بتاعتها، او ازاي يمكن تسريع، قال كده بالظبط، ازاي يمكن تسريع الفوائد المطلوبه من الاجراءات اللي تم اتخاذها او الخطوات اللي تم اتخاذها، خصوصا وانه مع بدايه الاصلاح كانت مصر وصلت في 2016 في لحظه في 2016 قبل بدايه هذه الاصلاحات الى مشكلات كبيره في ارقام العجز المالي وفي زياده الديون وزياده نسبه التضخم، وانه نسبه التضخم بدات بالفعل تقل ونزلت من أقصى مستوى ليها اللي كان في شهر يوليو، إذا كنت أنا فاكر يوليو اللي فات. Yes, go ahead, sir. I'm very sorry.
Yes, no, I'll break up my answers into small bits now to allow time for translation. So, as I was saying, inflation has been falling from the peak in July, and this is for the most part due to the monetary policy response and the communications by the Central Bank of Egypt that have helped to anchor expectations. At the same time, the fiscal policies are ensuring that the budget deficit is declining, and in fact this year we should see a small primary surplus, which is a surplus on the fiscal balances when you exclude interest payments.
I would like to ask you before translating this, the points that you've just mentioned in regards to the inflation, because people here are really interested in the inflation. We think and we consider it as one of the main indications, because everybody was really suffering from the high prices that came along with the steps that you've been mentioning, the government steps. The government says, and the central bank says, that they are targeting 13% inflation percentage by the end of 2018. Do you think this is doable within the next 11 months?
Yes, Sharif, thank you. That's a very important question because inflation, of course, affects everybody in the economy. To begin with, of course, the inflation spike was unavoidable, as you know, because of the flotation of the exchange rate and the adjustment in fuel prices and the VAT rate, which were part of the stabilization plan of the authority. But indeed, inflation is now coming down, and especially if you look at monthly inflation trends, it makes us, we are very comfortable with the central bank's target. And yes, achieving 13% by the end of 2018 is very much within reach. And in fact, we would consider that as something that can and will be achieved.
In the report, the IMF has mentioned that the IMF is urging the government and discussing with the government the possibilities or the measures or the steps that should be taken to get the private sector to be more involved in the political reform. Do you have maybe specific ideas about how can we achieve this?
Yes. So the issue is this, that Egypt has a young and dynamic growing population, and the need is to create about 700,000 jobs every year for the foreseeable future. And it really is only the private sector that would be able to generate that kind of job growth and the associated increase in living standards, and also to make sure that everybody is sharing in the growth of the economy, including the young people and the women who have so far been less able to participate in job growth than is possible. So the private sector will have to take the lead on this. And there are a few key reforms that can help in the process. Would you like me to go on with them?
Yes, you can go, and then I'll translate it all together.
Okay. So one of the important conditions for a private sector to grow, invest, innovate, thrive, and create jobs is to have competition and a level playing field between all players in the marketplace for products of goods and services. So that what that would mean is that companies will compete on the basis of their ability to produce goods and services at the cheapest cost and the best technology and the best efficiency. And this will translate into higher quality and lower costs for consumers. The thing is, Egyptian, sorry, you were...
Yeah, I would like to translate quickly the points that you've just mentioned, if you please. أنا كنت بسأله بشكل أساسي لأنه إحنا بنبقى مهتمين بفكرة التضخم. إحنا عرفنا إنه التضخم ده مرتبط بشكل من الاشكال. احنا حسينا بمساله الاسعار الزياده. الحكومه والبنك المركزي قالوا في تقارير رسميه وفي تصريحات معلنه انه 13% هي نسبه، عايزين ننزل بالتضخم ل 13% مع نهايه 2018. سالت السيد سوبير بانه هل ده ممكن؟ هل بالفعل ده ممكن يتحقق مع نهايه 2018؟ هو اجاب بالتاكيد انه ده من الممكن انه يتم تحقيقه بالفعل، لانه النسب الشهريه شهريا دلوقتي بينخفض معدل التضخم من شهر للتاني، وبالتالي المتوسط العام، يعني انا بحاول ابسط لحضراتكم وابسط لنفسي حتى، وسامحوني اذا كنت يعني اخطات او كان في اي نوع من عدم التفاصيل يعني، لكن انه مع النقص التدريجي الشهري في نسبة التضخم فمن الممكن بالفعل الوصول لنسبة 13% الانخفاض أو الوصول للتضخم ب 13% زي ما أعلنت الحكومة وأعلن البنك المركزي. اتكلم كمان بأنه صحيح أنه الأسعار وتكلفة المعيشة بشكل عام زادت، وده كان شيء لا يمكن تفاديه. برضو نسبة التضخم أو ارتفاعها وإنها ارتفعت كده بشكل سريع جدا ووصلت للأرقام القياسية الكبيرة دي، ده كان برضو أحد الأعراض الأساسية اللي مش ممكن تفاديها مع كأثر يعني أو كأحد الأعراض الجانبية للخطوة الخاصة بتعويم العملة بشكل كامل. كنت بسأله دلوقتي حالا عن اللي ذكر في التقرير بخصوص ازاي القطاع الخاص يشارك. بيقول انه الحكومة والIMF وصندوق النقد اتفقوا على ضرورة مشاركة اكبر واكثر فعالية للقطاع الخاص. قال دلوقتي حالا بسأله عن التفاصيل ده، قال انه القطاع الخاص المصري هو الوحيد اللي قادر انه يوفر. احنا محتاجين 700,000 فرصة عمل سنويا، هو الوحيد اللي قادر على توفير هذه الفرص من العمل. الرقم الكبير ده او الرقم ده من الفرص العمل المطلوب توليدها، القطاع الخاص هو اللي يقدر يقوم بهذا الموضوع، بشرط انه في عدد من الامور اللي تم توفيرها، ومن اساسها او اولها مكان ما وقفنا معاه في النقطة اللي وقفنا معاه هو مسألة انه يبقى قادر على المنافسه، انه يبقى متاح قدامه الفرص، وان الفرص دي طبعا تبقى متاحه له وفقا لامكاناته ووفقا لقدره كل شركه على المنافسه بقدرتها او بتقدمها او بامكاناتها سواء الماليه او المهنيه. I just wanted to continue where we left regarding the private sector, Mr. Soubir, and I have one more question after that to go. You can continue talking about the chance and the competition that should be available to the private sector in Egypt.
Right. In addition to competition, there are a few other key elements for the private sector to be able to thrive and be the engine of growth and job creation. One is, of course, integration with global markets, because production now globally and taking advantage of globalization means being part of value chain. And so trade barriers and access to markets, access to logistics for trade, when they are improved, that helps private sector development and openness and global integration. A third point is access to finance and to land, because both physical and financial capital are needed for companies to be set up to grow and thrive. And in particular, access to finance is helped when the government's borrowing requirements fall. That creates the room for lenders to lend to private companies. And of course, in addition, there is financial inclusion, which the Central Bank of Egypt is taking the lead on, which would help improve access to finance. Two more points that we think would be important in the general areas. Overall on governance and transparency, and in particular also of state-owned enterprises, so that resources are allocated to their most efficient users, and so that all the market players know who they're competing against, and they can make decisions based on economic criteria.
Yes.
Finally, it's important to make sure that there is the labor force is able to meet the demands of a growing private sector, and this includes reform, labor markets and education, training, investing in people, so that they have the skills to be able to join the workforce for a dynamic, fast-growing economy.
Yes.
And this is particularly important for youth and for women.
Okay, let me translate this. النقط الثلاثة الأخيرة الخاصة بمسألة دور أكبر للقطاع الخاص هو اللي اتكلم عنه. هو اتكلم الأول على القدرة على المنافسة وتوفير الفرص العادلة، اتكلم كمان السيد سوبر عن مسألة التكامل والاندماج مع الأسواق العالمية، المزيد من الشفافية، إجراءات شفافية على الحكومة أنها تقوم بيها، خصوصا فيما يرتبط بإدارة المشروعات اللي هي بتتحمل مسؤوليتها، وأنه ده يبقى كمان متاح أمام المساهمة الخاصة بالقطاع الخاص لتحقيق فكرة القدرة على المنافسة. My final question, sir, and this is a very important question for the public opinion in Egypt, for the consumers, which is the fuel prices and the general increase in the energy bill. When you talk to the Egyptian government, do you have certain percentages of increase that you ask for, or it's only for the government to determine such increase and how to do it, or when to do it? You've mentioned in the report that it should be by December 2018, and to our knowledge, there should be an increase by the end of the fiscal year or the start of the new fiscal year by July 1st. Is that correct?
Sharif, the authorities have said that they plan to eliminate the subsidies for most fuel products, excluding LPG, by the end of their program.
Yes.
Now, in terms of the size of the increases, when and how to do it, that really is their decision. And so, I would not be able to offer any further insight into that.
Just wanted to make sure I'm listening to this from you. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's important to remember that what this does is that once it is there, then that means that the budget will not be vulnerable to changes in international oil prices anymore, and that the savings that come from the reduced subsidy bill can be better targeted to those who need it the most, better targeted cash transfer programs, better social assistance, and more investment in people and, of course, in infrastructure. So I think the way to think of it is that once these, and fuel subsidies are highly regressive. They benefit the better off more than they benefit those who are less well off. So this is a way to redeploy resources in a more sustainable way, but also to those that need it the most. And one final point is that fuel subsidies distort prices, and price distortions like this can lead to very inefficient investment, and what Egypt needs is private investment. And so correcting relative prices helps in boosting private sector investment and growth as well. So there's a macro benefit as well.
Mr. Soubir, thank you very much. I'll do the translation right away, but I just wanted to thank you for being with us. And again, thank you for the time that you've given us. We hope we get the chance to talk more whenever it's available and whenever you're coming. So are you coming soon to Egypt, sir?
Well, I will be in Egypt at some point, but I don't know exactly yet when, but sometime in the coming few months, of course. But thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you very much, and we'll make sure to check your agenda soon. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
طيب عايز اترجم لحضراتكم بقى الجزء الخاص بفكره الوقود. انا كنت بساله بشكل مباشر لان ده كان فيه معلومات دايما او تصريحات بتقول من جانب الحكومه بانه البرنامج الاقتصادي ما يرتبط بتحرير اسعار البنزين او الوقود عموما، اسعار الطاقه، انه مرتبط بالرؤيه اللي بتقدمها الحكومه، وانه زياده نسبه الزياده ومواعيد الزياده وتفاصيل هذه الزيادات الحكومه الجانب المصري هو اللي بيحددها. اكد الكلام ده دلوقتي المسؤول عن الملف المصري، اسمه هناك رئيس بعثة مصر في صندوق النقد الدولي، السيد سوبير، اكد دلوقتي على انه بيبقى فيه اتفاق عام على ان رفع الدعم التدريجي عن اسعار الوقود. لما هينتهي رفع الدعم بشكل كامل عن اسعار الوقود في مرحله معينه مع نهايه برنامج الاصلاح، فده بيخلي الموازنه العامه، انا بترجم لحضراتكم كلامه، ده بيخلي الموازنه العامه ما يبقاش عليها عبء دعم اسعار الوقود والطاقه، وبالتالي يتوفر مصادر ماليه ومصادر ماديه إضافية يتم توجيهها في حاجات تانية زي التدريب، زي التعليم، وإنه مرة تانية إنه الحكومة هي اللي بتحدد إمتى وإزاي وكل تفاصيل ونسبة الزيادات المقررة في أسعار الطاقة وأسعار الوقود. وقال إنه مرة تانية، وده بيتفق مع ما ذكر على المستوى المصري، هو إنه الزيادات دي احنا عندنا المعلومات بانه الزيادات مقرره بشكل مع نهايه وبدايه السنه الماليه بتبقى يوليو 2018، وانه ده هيحصل على الاقل مره واحده لغايه شهر ديسمبر نهايه 2018. حبينا بس نقول لحضراتكم كل التفاصيل لانه ده تقرير كان مهم في تقييم الاتفاق مع صندوق النقد اللي هو الطرف الاساسي مع الحكومه بخصوصه. مستمرين مع حضراتكم بعد الفاصل في حلقة.